Hey you guys, this is Rafael from Shiloh Relics.com. I hope you're all doing well. We're very thankful to be here today. I'm sorry I haven't gotten as many of these done lately as I was hoping to, but it's just me in the office and I've been playing catch up from the couple of collections that I bought at the end of last year. So according to the bank that I have my money borrowed from, I need to be working on that a lot more. Today we're going to talk about one piece that every Civil War collection should have in it if you can afford it. It's an original shell jacket from the Civil War. You see these mainly in two styles. You see them with the golden trim, which means cavalry, and you see them with the red trim, which means artillery. We've already talked about one of the artillery coats back when I first got going back last year. So today we're going to talk about the cavalry. Cavalry golden trim, and it has a very high tall collar with the piping. This is called piping, and they use a simple button. It's a simple cuff size is what you refer to them most of the time, but these were straight down the front. There will have, like this, they'll have the Union Eagle, arrows of war in one talon, branch of peace in the other, and it'll have a shield on the center of the eagle's chest. When it's just the shield, it's for an enlisted man. When you have an I or an A or a C, it's for that branch, the infantry, cavalry, artillery. So we know that this one is an enlisted man's shell jacket with the cavalry branch. And I never knew why they called them a shell jacket. So I did a little reading a little bit ago. That's just what they've always been referred to, and I never questioned it. These have taught me a lot of things because I have to try to research them to be sure what I tell you is correct. The first use of the term shell on a jacket was from the 1790s. Light dragoons mean well-equipped cavalrymen in England had short blue coats, and they had a decorative sleeveless piece that went on top of them called a shell. I didn't know that before a little bit ago. So that name just kind of stuck with it, and they started using that name for coats like this, meaning a short coat is a shell jacket. The U.S. used some of these starting with the regulations in 1833. They phased them out later on and then brought them back. This one was introduced in 1855. So you have some of those that are pre-war, and they used them throughout the war. Most of the time when you see one of these, it has the lining on the inside of it that almost looks like a toe sack. And those, by the end of the war, they had them standardized really, really well. They had markings in the sleeves. They had inspector marks in the sleeves. You see a lot of them that are marked Schaefer in the sleeves. This one is one of the earlier versions. Inside of it is all white, and it has a simple 2 in the sleeve. What does a 2 mean? 2 is the size. So it's a size 2 on the government size chart. No maker marks, so it's probably one of two things. It's in my opinion, going to be an early production coat. Most of them that have this kind of lining are unmarked. I have seen a couple of them over the years that had New York maker marks in them. Not meaning that they were specifically used by New York, but a lot of the makers were there. You had going to several different places. This one is very pretty. It's got the golden piping that has aged to kind of a sunflower color gold. It's got all of the piping still present. A lot of times that comes off or is moth-eaten. This one's still nice. If you turn the coat around, I usually don't do this, but this one is on a light stand and I can do it. On the back, we've got these little pieces here, like this. What's that for? You got to imagine the guy with the cavalry had his sword belt, and that sword belt's really heavy. And if you've ever tried to walk around with like a tool belt or anything on, it keeps wanting to come down. You use these, they're called pillows. You put that sword belt above them, it helps hold that sword up. So it's kind of a smart little invention. And as you can imagine, these get ripped off pretty easily. These still nicely intact and solid. But it's a nice coat all the way around. It's on ShilohRelics.com. Go on there. I've got this one. I think I've got a couple of artilleries right now. I just picked up an artillery musicians, which unless somebody orders it in the next couple of days, I will do one of these on and tell you a little bit more about it. Very distinctive coat. But in my opinion, if you can afford it, you need to have in your collection an artillery coat and a cavalry coat. They're really pretty. They've got that blue wool and the gold trim on the cavalry, red trim on the artillery. Man, they look great. So go on to ShilohRelics.com. Check those out. I've got pictures from all angles. I try to describe them the best way I can. Give you a couple more pictures probably than you want, but I try to cover all my bases. And I've had something on my mind, and I'm glad I get to share these things with you guys because there are certain things that kind of burn an impression in your mind. And I had one that happened the other day. I was at a restaurant with my family. I was with my daughters, and we were sitting there and we were talking, and like most families do, complaining about some people. It just happens. And this family walked in, and I noticed them out of the corner of my eye, and I couldn't help but watch them as they ate their meal. They came in, and they had a son that was handicapped, and he was in a wheelchair. And you could tell that little kid is living a tough life. They rolled him in, and the mother and father were about my age. But you could tell that little fellow was loved. You could tell they held him as they fed him. And he was probably 5 or 6, but you could tell he was having trouble. He had some muscular trouble. But I watched that family, and everybody in that thing, everybody at their table was laughing, and they were smiling, and it was something to see. I saw the love that family had for each other and that they had for that little boy. And I thought, that's all right there. I mean, that's something strong, because I was sitting over there and I was bitching about stuff that really don't matter. That most people in the world, most of the things we complain about don't amount to a hill of beans. We're all healthy. I'm standing up. My granddad used to say, I'm sitting up and I'm taking nourishment. That makes it a good day. That little boy was there and had love all around him. And it was something cool to see. And I say this for 2 reasons. One, and the most important one, don't complain about the little stuff. Yeah, we're going to get past it. You probably won't even remember it tomorrow. Luckily, hopefully you'll forget it. But 2, I want to give a shout out to all those people that take care of somebody, whether it be a child that needs help or whether it be a parent that needs help. So many of those people do that, not because people are watching, but because it needs to be done. And I want to say thank you to those people. I love that family. I love that family. I don't know who that family is, but I love them. And I am so thankful that little fella who had a tough way to go had somebody that loved him, and has those 2 parents that work together as a team, because they handed him off and each one of them were feeding him, and it was something to watch. And I firmly believe that things like that are brought into your life to teach you something if you open your eyes up and see it. I saw it and I learned it, and I've still complained, but I'm trying to do better. And that's all we can hope to do. So I hope that you guys are well. I know it's a scary time, that politics suck, that the people that are politicians suck. And it's a lot of hard things out there right now. And everybody can get bogged down in the bad, but try to focus on that good. Think about those families that have that little guy that they're working for and working with. So I'll get out of here. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for watching these. Oh, I appreciate it more than you know. Share them with your friends. Share them. We're getting more views than ever, and I am so thankful because we're getting new collectors. I appreciate the comments. My lady friend says, you don't reply to many of those. And I said, it's not that I don't want to reply to them, but there's not really enough time to do everything I want to in a day. So please don't think that I don't read them. Please don't think that I don't care. But the time just doesn't allow. I appreciate you guys. Boy, I hope you know how much I appreciate you. I'll catch you next time. Love you guys.